Right now, somewhere in the world, a dog is sitting perfectly still, eyes locked on its owner's fork. Most people assume the answer is obvious. The dog wants food. End of story. But in 2015, a team of Japanese scientists discovered something that rewrites everything we thought we knew about that stare. And it has nothing to do with hunger. It's a trust test. One your dog inherited from wolves, and one that's chemically rewiring both of your brains every single time it happens. You know the moment. You sit down with dinner, maybe it's been a long day, and within seconds, there they are, your dog positioned at exactly the right distance, not begging, not whining, just watching. And here's the strange part, it's not the same look they give when you're holding a treat. That's excitement, tongue out, body wiggling. This is different. This is calm, focused, almost solemn. If you've ever felt like your dog was studying you during a meal, like there was something deeper happening behind those eyes, you were right. Because this behavior is ancient, and the science behind it goes far deeper than any pet blog will tell you. To understand what your dog is really doing, we need to go back, about 15,000 years, to a time when this stare wasn't cute. It was survival. In wolf packs, mealtimes are political. A 2015 study by Friederike Range and Zsófia Virányi at the Wolf Science Center in Austria observed something remarkable. Wolves don't just eat, they negotiate. Lower-ranking wolves will stare at the alpha during feeding, not to beg, but to read the situation. That gaze is a question: am I safe? Do you trust me enough to let me eat near you? The alpha's response, a returned look, a look away, a subtle shift in posture, determines everything. Range and Virányi found that wolves who maintained mutual gaze during feeding had stronger social bonds and lower cortisol levels, less stress. The stare wasn't confrontation, it was connection. Now here's where it gets extraordinary. In 2015, Miho Nagasawa and her team at Azabu University in Japan published a study in the journal Science that changed how we understand the dog-human relationship entirely. They measured oxytocin levels, the so-called love hormone, in both dogs and their owners during mutual gazing. What they found was unprecedented. When dogs stared into their owner's eyes, oxytocin levels in the owners increased by 300%. But here's the part that stunned the researchers: the dog's oxytocin levels surged too. Both brains were being flooded with the same bonding chemical. At the same time, through nothing but eye contact. This is the exact same hormonal loop that bonds human mothers to their infants. The same chemical, the same mechanism. Dogs didn't just learn to live with us, they hacked our bonding system. And Nagasawa's team proved it wasn't just correlation. When they administered synthetic oxytocin to dogs through a nasal spray, those dogs stared at their owners significantly longer, which in turn raised the owner's oxytocin even further. A feedback loop, a chemical conversation without a single word. But wolves, when they tested hand-raised wolves in the same experiment, wolves who'd been socialized with humans from birth, nothing happened. No oxytocin spike in the wolves, no spike in the humans. The gaze meant nothing chemically. This means dogs didn't inherit this ability from wolves. They evolved it. Somewhere during 15,000 years of domestication, dogs developed a biological mechanism specifically designed to bond with us through eye contact. So if the stare is about bonding and trust, why does it happen specifically during meals? Your dog stares at you all day, right? When you're on the couch, when you come home. But there's something different about the mealtime stare, something more intentional. Here's what most explanations miss. A 2003 study by Adam Miklósi at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest found that dogs use eye contact strategically, not randomly. They gaze at humans most intensely during what Miklósi called problem-solving contexts, moments of uncertainty, moments where they need information. And mealtimes, from your dog's inherited perspective, meals are the most socially loaded moment of the day. In wolf packs, who eats first, who eats near whom, who watches whom, these aren't random. They're the social contract being performed in real time. Your dog isn't staring at you because it's hungry. Your dog is staring at you because, deep in its evolutionary code, mealtime is when social bonds are tested. And your dog, whether it knows it or not, is checking that the bond is still there. It's not begging, it's the opposite of begging. It's your dog saying, "I trust you enough to sit here calmly while resources are being consumed. Do you trust me back?" And this is where it gets truly beautiful, because your response matters more than you think. A 2017 study published in Animal Cognition by Julianne Kaminski at the University of Portsmouth found that dogs produce significantly more facial expressions when a human is watching them, and fewer when they're alone or when a human's back is turned. Dogs didn't just evolve to look at us. They evolved to communicate with their faces because we look back. The stare during mealtime isn't a one-way channel. It's a conversation, and every time you glance at your dog, give a small nod, say something gentle, you're answering. You're completing the loop that started in a wolf pack 15,000 years ago. Monique Udell at Oregon State University took this even further. Her 2010 research showed that dogs raised with limited human contact gaze at humans far less than family dogs. The behavior isn't just instinct, it's also learned. Your dog has learned, through hundreds of repetitions, that when it stares at you during meals, something happens. Maybe not food, but acknowledgement, a look, a word, presence. Your dog has trained itself to perform the one behavior that triggers mutual oxytocin, not because it read a study, but because it felt the chemical reward of your attention. And you, without realizing it, have been training yourself right back. Every meal, every stare, every glance you return, you are both reinforcing a bond that is, chemically and evolutionarily, identical to the bond between parent and child. Not metaphorically, literally. So the next time you sit down to eat, and your dog takes up that familiar position, quiet, patient, eyes on you, know what's really happening. 15,000 years of evolution compressed into a single look. A trust test passed again. A bond reinforced one more time, not because your dog wants what's on your plate, because your dog wants to know you're still there. If this changed how you see your dog, we go deeper every week. There's a video coming soon about why your dog follows you to the bathroom, and the answer is far stranger than you'd expect.